If a man came into your life, wouldn't you want to compromise?
Stupid.
I ain't even who you think I am. I'm damn near a gang member outside of work.
Hi, my name is Kat Lopez. I'm originally from Colombia, but I live in Los Angeles, beautiful city of angels. My Instagram is Miss Kat Lopez.
I'm Kaylin. I'm from Newark, New Jersey, and my Instagram is okaylin.
I don't think that you should compromise at all in a relationship. What do you think?
I agree.
You agree?
I agree.
Okay, all right, tell me why.
But I feel like when you're with the right person, you don't really have to compromise.
Yeah.
Because you're happy with who they are, they're happy with who you are, like you are loving each other unconditionally the way that you are, and you accept each other. I feel like when you really have to compromise is when you're like really different people, like different cultures, maybe you don't like the same music, maybe you don't enjoy the same activities, so like then you have to compromise, right?
Yeah.
I think compromise is necessary sometimes, but like it's all about how mature the people are and how able you are to communicate. Like I think a lot of times people try to compromise without telling their partner that they're compromising something, and that's when like resentment and weird shit starts happening.
Yeah.
But if you communicate your needs clearly and your partner communicates their needs clearly, I think there's always like a happy medium.
Okay. So, me personally, I think you should never compromise in a relationship. And the reason I say that is because if you're aligned with that person and you guys take the time to like vet each other when you first meet, then there really is no reason for you to compromise because you guys are already aligned and you like the same things and you accept that person for who they are and you guys are already like on the same page. So there really isn't a reason to compromise at that time, right?
No, that's not true. I mean, like, we're in the 21st century,
Okay.
and that's just not how dating works anymore. Like, people don't court each other. So you're meeting people on Tinder and shit like that. You don't really, like, know everyone who you're dating, like a coworker or a classmate. So there just needs to be more work in relationships. And like people say, relationships are work, healthy relationships are work. So, yeah.
Okay. So if you take the time to actually court that person off Tinder or whatever your social media of choice is, your dating app of choice is, if you take the time to actually learn that person, get to know that person, and then be very diligent in your boundaries, meaning if that person does something or behaves a way that you don't like or the way that you don't expect for the person that you're with to behave, then that's the end of it, right? But I think a lot of times what we do is we like let it slide, or we don't really ask hard questions in the beginning. And then by the time we get together, we're like, oh, wait a minute, this is a completely different person than who I actually thought I was with. Because I think that's the only time we really need to compromise is when we're actually not with the right person. If we're with the right person, then that person like behaves the way we want somebody to behave, and they want the stuff that we want, right?
Yeah.
And so if they want the same things that we want, they behave the way we want the person that we want to be with behaves, then I don't see why we're compromising, right?
No, that's logical, and I think I used to align a lot more with that ideology, but I've kind of realized that like I kind of don't have the idea of like a right person or like a wrong person anymore. I think that it's about compatibility always, and people can be compatible and still have ways in their relationship that they are incompatible.
What?
And as long as you establish your boundaries early on and communicate them when they come up, like with no judgment to the person, then you guys can have like a clear discourse about what the boundary is, what's like the line that you can't cross and all of that. But if you don't tell the person what the boundary is and then they cross it and you feel disrespected, you can't really like judge them for that.
So I think what we do is we wait to find out all of that stuff until after we already have feelings for that person or after we have a connection with that person, and then it's really hard to it's hard to like move or be non-biased, right? To be like, oh hey, wait a minute, that's something I don't like and you've crossed the boundary. But like if we had these conversations in the beginning, like, hey, what do you do for a living? How much money do you make? What's your credit score? Do you have student loans? Like, what are you doing? What's gonna like trip us up? right? Do you snore at night? Like,
Snore.
right? You know, something that's like a deal breaker. And we find that out in the beginning instead of like being nice and asking about what's your astrological sign and your favorite color, right? We find all that stuff out in the beginning when we're really like non-biased, right? And then we can like really make a good judgment on if this is the right person for us. But I think a lot of times we just delay it out till we're comfortable with the person. Then it's hard to really judge them and really be like, hey, do I really want this or not, right? I mean, I think if that's what I was hearing you say, I think we were saying the same things, but you were saying do it later, and I was saying we should do these things before so that we can really vet that person in the beginning and then make a real decision on if this is the right person or not. Yeah? Or...
Well, it just depends on the person. Like, it depends on who you are and who the person is. You just have to have a lot of self-awareness.
Yeah.
Some people, I think the biggest arguments that happen in relationships are when someone crosses a line that the other person, that they didn't know was a line. And, or if they like bring up a topic, a touchy subject, without really understanding that it was touchy for the other person.
Right.
And so the things that are like your touchy subjects, you're not gonna just spill on someone when you're first dating, and that's just not good etiquette. So you do have to kind of have a certain like understanding of the person before having these discussions, but it takes a lot of courage.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why would you not spill all the hard stuff in the beginning so that they can
That's
make it?
trauma dumping. That's like.
But then they can make a good judgment on if you're the right person for them or not, right?
Or maybe they're just not on that same speed. I think it's good to kind of like get to know the person, figure out how they deal with, if they're a sensitive person or not, if they're like sensitive around certain topics. That's the sort of thing you want to ease into. Like, you can't just be like, tell me all your trauma, like right off the bat, or like tell me what's gonna tick you off. But I think it is good to like, once you feel yourself getting into a serious point in a relationship or like a exclusive point in a relationship, you can ask the person like, what are some things in your past relationships that really made you feel horrible that people did to you, like, so I can like avoid that at all costs.
But if you, so let's say you dump your trauma on them right in the beginning. Hey, here's what I've been through. Here's what I want. Here's what I expect. Here's my boundaries. And they're like, oh my God, that's too much. Isn't that a sign that they're not the right person for you?
Maybe it's a sign that they have a different life from you. Maybe they don't have the same type of boundaries or the same type of trauma, or they're not as sensitive around the same topics. And yeah, in that case, a lot, in my own experience, those people tend to be less open-minded.
Right.
So it is it's a yellow flag. It's not a red flag. It's a yellow flag.
But shouldn't it be a red flag? Shouldn't it be like, hey, if you don't move complimentary to me, meaning if I can say something to you and you're like falling back, then isn't that a sign that you're probably not the right person for me? Because I want somebody who can eat that up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I want somebody who says, oh yeah, that's nothing.
Well, then, yeah,
We're
then
good.
it's about you. For me personally, yeah, no.
This is Black Cinder.
I was born in it, molded by it.